Hello everyone, I'm OG fan when Star Wars was just Star Wars, and I'd like to welcome you to my Hot Toys and 1/6 scale figure collection tour. My collection focuses on Star Wars with nostalgia from the 70s and 80s when I grew up, and you must pull a heartstring to get into this hallowed 80 square foot room that houses my collection, and I consider my Zen garden. This is where all the problems of the real world leave me, and I'm transported to a galaxy far, far away. In my opinion, we all have similar collections, be it Star Wars, Marvel, DC focused, but the uniqueness comes from how they're displayed. So without further ado, let's get to the tour. First up, we have the Boba Fett shrine. For those that know me in the community, you know I have a fetish and must have all Boba Fetts. Boba Fett is the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy. That sorted out, let's start with the Sideshow prototype armor, the first iteration of Fett. The animated special, Boba Fett, the blue and yellow suit, my personal favorite, and Grail. Next, we have the vintage color Fett, a great paint scheme to remind you of the classic Hasbro figure. This is where I learned about Sideshow's waitlist, and that was from 6 Scale Economist. I hope you're doing well, Adam. He compared the waitlist to a stock option, where it's a free chance to purchase the figure at retail price. If it comes in, you don't have to pay more on the secondary market. If you don't want it, no harm, no foul. So this was my very first waitlist conversion and the figure that started me down the slippery slope of collecting all 1/6 scale Boba Fetts. Next, we have the Empire Strikes Back 40th Anniversary Boba Fett Deluxe, shown here in the alternate armor. I absolutely love this figure with all the extra pieces and options available. It's amazing. And last on this shelf is the Sarlacc Survivor Fett. The battle damaged armor is amazing. I've got this bad boy using all the weapons, rocket launchers, flamethrower, whistling birds, and the pistol. Battle on, Boba. We have my first ever hot toy and first Boba Fett, MMS 464 Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett Deluxe. July 2018, this guy broke my cherry into the Hot Toys game. Still my favorite hot toy. It has all the display options you could need, like the Boba Fett previous, with all the extra parts, but I have them in the classic Empire all green look, my favorite. He is surrounded by the Empire Strikes Back bounty hunters. On his flanks, we have Dengar and Bosk, Sideshow pieces that look wonderful. Behind him are the rest of the Sideshow bounty hunters, except IG-88, which is a custom kit bash of a repainted IG-11, custom bandolier with die-cast accessories, die-cast additional parts on the robot to distinguish them. Really cool piece. Next to him is Zuckuss and Forlom, the bounty hunter duo. These figures are a must to complete the bounty hunters line from Empire Strikes Back, and I love them. Come on, Howie. Do them for us, please. Next up is Arena Black Suit Fett wielding his halberd. This is an amazing figure from the comics. Just absolutely love it. And then we have the Return of the Jedi Deluxe with the Sarlacc pit base. This Force perspective base is amazing, and I mean, obviously, I hate that moment when Boba dies like that, but the base and the figure are absolutely amazing. Here we have Mythos Boba Fett and the Mythos Obi-Wan from Sideshow. These are the first releases, and I think they still look fabulous. They really create that Mythos look. One of my favorite pieces, this little duo right here. And the only time you'll see a Boba Fett getting, drawn down on. Obi-Wan's got the jump on him because, of course, he has the high ground. In front of them is Boba Fett and 2 custom Tusken Raiders. I found these to be an interesting, if alternate, take of Boba post-Sarlacc. Obviously, we all have feelings about the show, but the figures, they're amazing. Next, we have Boba Fett repaint armor on Throne. He is enjoying the company of Fennec Shand, which has an amazing head sculpt and a figure of the beautiful Ming-Na Wen, and Boba's kitties. I had to have those. I had to have representation of my cat because my cat respects this collection, and with all these open figures, she doesn't knock any of them down in 6 years. So I had to have cats in the collection, and there they are. Behind them, we have Cobb Vanth, a.k.a. Fake Fett, and he's sharing a joyous spotchka with Fennec, of course. Next up, we have the Book of Boba Fett Boba. Very clean, styling, beautiful-looking figure. Here I've got him kind of battling Cad Bane, another figure and one of those great and few aliens we get from Hot Toys. Toto is up front serving Fett. Here we have Vader's battle through the ages, showing his progression. Here we have the battle between Vader and Obi-Wan, alluded to in Star Wars when Vader says, "When I left you, I was but the learner." I'm using the Kenobi show figures to act as twofold. One being the scene referenced above where Obi-Wan has clearly gotten the better of Vader, which always intrigued me. And the other thing is that these figures, they serve as my prequel, Anakin and Obi too. Now I know they're not really the prequels, but they work for me because I'm OG. Here we have the classic confrontation of Vader and Obi-Wan from Star Wars. Now I am the master. Only a master of evil, Darth. These are old figures, and that Vader will flake if you even look too hard at him. So everybody who owns it, you know it, but anybody who doesn't, be very careful. But this is, this introduced us to lightsaber battles in 77. CT-603 knows what I'm talking about. Here, Empire Strikes Back Luke Skywalker confronts ESB Vader in the classic carbonite chamber duel. This is my favorite Vader purely for his luxurious cape that he comes with. All other Vader capes are inferior to this cape. And this Luke, this is the battle. This is it right here, man. Here we have the Reflection and Redemption Shelf, also known as Return of the Jedi. It shows both Vader and Luke having pivotal moments. Luke deciding to be good or evil and fall in with the dark side, and then Vader reflecting on a life not well lived. Absolutely love this Return of the Jedi Vader. So many different display options, but this one holds the most sentimental value to me. And lastly, in the Vader homage, we have the Battle Damaged Darth Vader Deluxe Special Edition with that sculpted cape. To me, this figure is all about that sculpted cape. The battle damage, of course, is amazing. The robot arms and legs, incredible. Is this the ultimate Vader? It very well could be, because it is awe-inspiring every time I look at it. Wonderful piece, just added in the other day. Love this Vader. Now onto the main shelves of Star Wars figures, starting with the prequel shelf. First up, the Phantom Menace. I have Qui-Gon talking to Jedi Council Yoda as Queen Amidala looks on trepidatiously. Hot Toys, Sideshow, and Play Toys represented here. The pit droid chills against Yoda's chair, as pit droids tend to do. Then we have Maul 2.0 on the Sith Speeder. The head sculpts on this figure are next level, and I'm so glad to have this in my collection. I missed out on the first one, and this is just amazing. The Sith probe droid follows close behind, and if you look carefully, you could see E.T. in there as well. Now, I know it's the E.T., but we all saw him in the prequel, so we know he was there. They're in the same universe. The Droideka is up next. This is an engineering marvel and looks amazing. Surprisingly, less fragile than it looks. I know everyone got multiples of this. I just needed one because it is a space hog. On to Attack of the Clones with Jango Fett, the B-2 battle droid, and Master Jedi Mace Windu. Thought these three looked great together, and they told the story of Attack of the Clones, Geonosis battle very well. Next to them are the C-3PO and R2-D2. Both amazing figures. Diecast 3PO with the weathered and mismatched parts looks incredible, and I have the R2 with all the droid accessories attached. As many of you know, I like to say that R2-D2 is the hero of 1,000 devices, and I wanted to show some of that because he really is. Behind the scenes here is the battle between Count Dooku and Yoda. Both are excellent figures and bring some life to the shelf with this pose. Finally, we have some Revenge of the Sith figures. Starting in the front row, we have the clone collaboration of the clone pilot, Commander Cody, the original release, and the 212th Airborne Trooper. Behind them is the one and only General Grievous. A great figure that looks amazing, but not without his issues. I, of course, broke the hip piece on the very first move, like many of you, even though I was cautioned against it multiple times by the community, but still did it. But it's a great figure. I would love to have them all lightsabered out, but man, is he another space hog, and I don't have the room for him for that pose. Now, on to the OT. Here we have an original trilogy shelf, starting with the Sideshow Jawas. This is the very first 1/6 scale figures I ever unboxed, thanks to Jetta Patrol, who in a video commented that if you were an inbox collector of Hot Toys, then what were you doing? They're just too good to leave in the box. So I opened these Jawas first and had my childhood friend Russell pose the Jawas up with me. Kind of like it was 1978 all over again. It was awesome. They are in pursuit of the next figures, the droids. We have R5-D4, which I used the bad motivator piece on, of course. He's got the pit droid chilling up against him, hanging out, kind of giving us the whisper, shh, I don't belong here, but you know, it's a pit droid, so he's kind of like Deadpool. He belongs everywhere. And the BD unit peeking out from behind. Next is C-3PO and R2-D2, both Sideshow pieces. I've had this C-3PO for a long time, and I couldn't wait until Hot Toys announced him before I had to have him in the collection. When I was a kid and my brothers and I got the first 12 Star Wars figures from my mother, we divided them up. I got Obi-Wan, C-3PO, R2-D2, and the Death Squad Commander. So 3PO was kind of my very first Star Wars figure ever, and he's been a favorite of mine ever since. I've got R2-D2 with the holo table and Princess Leia because, help me Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. And I put the little droid from the Kenobi show here as an homage to old Ben. Next, we have Wave 1 of the Scum and Villainy line from Sideshow. I absolutely loved the look of these aliens. And in my opinion, 4 out of 5 of these characters are essential to the Star Wars myth creation. Labria, the Devil Man, is the exception. He just looks cool. Garindin, Long Snoot like we called him when I was a kid, is there spying in the background while Pondo Boba, or Walrus Man, and Dr. Evazan are ready to fight. Greedo sips his blue milk waiting for Han Solo. This is the original release, and he stands ready with Chewbacca at his side. In the background, you'll see the interrogator droid and a stormtrooper at the ready. Empire Strikes Back Snowspeeder Luke is ready for battle, while Sideshow's Yoda looks on in exasperation. I love the dialogue from the Dagobah training scene, where Luke exclaims, "I don't believe it," and Yoda shakes and hangs his head. "That is why you fail." That gave me chills, and I love this figure and the setup. Next, we have one of my 13 1/6 scale Boba Fetts, MMS, and he's putting the moves on Bespin Leia in front of the Sideshow Han and Carbonite, while Lando readies his escape. Return of the Jedi diecast C-3PO has his eyes plucked out by Salacious Crumb, while another trooper stands guard. Out of sequence on the shelves, but appropriately since it's an OT, it's on the Endor shelf. I have the Endor Leia and Wicket 2-pack with Han Solo ready to take on a trio of scout troopers. The Sideshow Scout Trooper and Speeder Bike are in hot pursuit, like the artwork here. The Hot Toys Scout Troopers is armed with the sniper rifle, and the Remnant Scout Trooper fills out the display nicely. Next up, we have the Trooper Shelf. This is an amalgamation of troopers from the OT and all the other Star Wars movies. This is a very fluid shelf on which troopers come and go, backing up other figures, so who is commanding them currently? Grand Admiral Thrawn, as the display requires it. First up, we have the Assault Tank Commander, customized into a 91st Armored Recon Trooper. He has a custom radio kit for communication with the advanced Scout Walkers and probe droids. His custom decals are from Bad Mother Tattoos and Decals, and the radio equipment from Black Ops Toys, both on the eBay and my go-tos for such needs. He is with an unmodified assault tank commander ready to breach rebel defenses. In the front row, we have the Shore Trooper Commander, the Artillery Trooper. Shout out to my boys Nate and Don Prime at Geekin' Out. It's YouTube channel for this figure I won in a giveaway. Thank you very much, guys. Check out Geekin' Out. Always fun. Thanks very much. The Transport Trooper takes aim with Pondo Boba's holdout blaster. Just wanted to swap it out and give him a better gun. In the middle row, we have the Shadow Trooper and the Shore Trooper Grunt Han Solo Mud Trooper, used exclusively as a trooper, and the Range Trooper exclusive. I absolutely love this trooper and very glad Hot Toys made him after so long coming from the graveyard. And he kind of transitions really well into the OT troopers. In the back row is the Remnant Trooper, his hand thrown up expressing disbelief like, why? Why do you collect so many figures? Why? So every time I have doubt, I look at him and go, yep, I need another trooper. Next to him is another Shore Trooper Grunt, and then the Flame Trooper. All right, moving on to the same shelf to the OT troopers. I have 3 Return of the Jedi Stormtroopers ready for action. With them are the Sideshow Snow Troopers and AT-AT Driver. Yes, it's AT-AT, not AT-AT. They are all flanked by the Snow Trooper Commanders, one each from Hot Toys and Sideshow. Can you tell the difference? They are all presided over by Grand Admiral Thrawn. On to the Clone Wars shelf. I wondered on that day in May 77 when Luke asks, "You fought in the Clone Wars?" And Obi-Wan replies, "Yes. I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father." I wondered about that for years, so here's my homage to the Clone Wars. Firstly, we have the Solo Maul, which I think the robot legs on this version are just too cool and way better than the Clone Wars version. So he's used as my Clone Wars Maul, battling 2 Coruscant guards, along with Clone Wars Ahsoka and Anakin. I like this setup a lot. It kind of encapsulates Season 7 and all the Clone Wars for me. Next, we have the 501st Troopers and the Bad Batch. In the back row, from left to right, we have Captain Vaughn, commanding the 332nd Ahsoka Company, a Phase 2 Trooper with long rifle and macro vision sights, a Phase 2 332nd Clone Trooper with the minigun, and everybody's favorite Captain Rex. And finally, a Phase 1 Trooper flying off to battle. Wasn't crazy about these helmets in the movie, but on the figure, they look amazing. In front of them are the Bad Batch. For those that know me on YouTube, you know I like to say no FOMO when you dopo. And this complete Bad Batch, at retail mind you, proves that point exceptionally. If I had waited like a lot of the community to order this until they announced the whole Bad Batch, I probably would have missed out on figures like a lot of people and had to chase them down in the secondary market where some of them still fetch a high dollar. Since I order from Sideshow when a figure's announced, it's the double-edged sword. I don't get the big discounts, but I get the figure, which is what I really want. So I'm good with that. First up, we have Wrecker in his Dune Collie position. Crosshair, good soldiers follow orders. Hunter, and Tech doing some Tech things. And finally, Echo snatching up Yoda's Jedi Holocron. Out of order, but due to his size, up next we have the Dewback. This beast is huge and awesome. He is mounted by the Sand Trooper Sergeant ready to joust. The other Sand Trooper Sergeant and Sand Trooper have just discovered the mechanical part. Look, sir, droids. While the last Sand Trooper, a conversion from the Stormtrooper Commander and parts from Monkey Depot, brings up the rear with the patrol droid. Next up, we have the Mandalorian shelf. This is in 2 sections, the OG Mando and his buddies, and Beskar Mando in the cataclysmic battle, the Night of 1,000 Tears. First, we have the OG Mando, which I still think is the best looking version of the Mando figures, drawing down his pistol protecting Grogu. Ahsoka the Grey leaps into action behind him as IG-11 lets both blasters go. The Armorer is kicking butt against a trooper with the battle-damaged helmet from the Boba 2-pack for the effect. The Night of 1,000 Tears. is the Battle Royale setup where Moff Gideon nuked Mandalore and turned it into glass. I had to have this set up after seeing that scene from either Mando or Book of Boba Fett, I can't remember which show, but you all know the scene, an homage to the Terminator, and I had to recreate my own version here. We have Moff Gideon's original release wielding the Darksaber, leading the fight, assisted by Queel. I thought the goggles looked too good to use this, and he's in control of the droids. I always thought, is this how Queel gained his freedom from the Empire? The droids being the Tucax Enforcer droids, flanking the probe droid. In the rear, the probe droid has a hold of a Death Watch Mando, customized with more symbols from Bad Mother tattoos and decals, as Casca Reeves and another Death Watch Mando come in to help. Axe Woves, Beskar Mando, Heavy Infantry Mando with the overheated gun, shout out again to Monkey Depot, and Bo-Katan finish the display. Thanks to Jedha Patrol for the courage to pose these figures, and half of these are probably borrowed from him. Thanks, Jedha. All right, on to the detail shelf of Luke Skywalker's evolution and multiverse crossover. On the top shelf, we have the Queen Amidala portrait collection by Hasbro Figures. Now, I had to have these figures because one of the best things about the Phantom Menace is, as Obi-Wan said, the Queen's wardrobe. And I've seen where the community is kit bashing these costumes on the custom 1/6 Padme sculpts. So if you know, you know. And obviously, Luke is nowhere to be seen, but I think we all know where he is. Next, we have Artisan Dark Empire Luke, which is a figure I never thought they'd make. He's flanked by a pair of Death Troopers. I think they look great with all Imperial commanders, and this is kind of the way I have Luke with his red lightsaber. Next, we have the glorious return of Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Season 2. He's here destroying a couple of Dark Troopers. I used the included backdrop because I like the depth it added to this confined space. Lastly, we have the Star Wars Marvel Dude crossover. Luke from The Last Jedi sits with the Mandarin from Iron Man and the Big Lebowski in his living room. Each of them is partaking in an adult beverage and a smoke. The Dudes was provided by Sideshow, but Luke's and the Mandarin's are custom, hand-rolled, 1/6 scale smokes. Death Star for Luke and OG Skywalker for Mandarin. I think the rug really ties this one together. Now we have my nostalgia shelves up first with G.I. Joe. I have Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, and the Baroness representing the 1/6 scale side, and my original remaining G.I. Joes from when I was a child. I say remaining because there were a lot more G.I. Joes, but these are the ones that survived the many battles. Glorious. Up next is my Spider-Man shelf. This is my version of the Sinister Six. Classic suit Spider-Man stands poised among Marvel's greatest villains. Doc Ock, which is an amazing figure, the Scorpion tail base that comes with classic suit Spider-Man, and the Green Menace or Green Goblin from Susu Toys, which is one of my favorite figures in my collection. Classic Green Goblin. The Red Skull prepares the Cosmic Cube while Mysterio and Doctor Doom cast spells against Spidey. Luckily, Thor and Throg have come to help Spider-Man and to the rescue. On to the Star Trek shelf. First, we have the movie Star Trek figures, starting with Lieutenant Saavik in her regular one gear. Absolutely love this figure. Perfect tailoring. I think it captures Kirstie Alley very well. From Star Trek The Motion Picture, we have Colin R. Spock, Admiral James T. Kirk, and Disco McCoy shaking his bones. General Chang and Commander Krug round it out. I absolutely love this Krug. He is awesome. One of my favorite figures. On to the toss side of the shelf, we have Mirror Spock battling Sulu in a knife fight. Q is the last figure, and he stands there, fingers snapped, which he did to the rest of my Star Trek collection. If you know, you know. March 28th, 2026, and no, the original series Captain Kirk yet. On the last shelf, we have a mix of figures starting with the Iron Giant. He's flanked by two Daleks. They were purchased in anticipation of Big Chief's Tom Baker's fourth Doctor Who, which unfortunately was canceled when Big Chief went supernova. Next, we have more figures I never thought I would own in 1/6 scale or any size. The Sideshow Clint Eastwood collection. In the front row, we have William Money from Unforgiven, the outlaw Josie Wales from self-titled film, which I think is the greatest Western of all time, and the Preacher from Pale Rider. I love you, Preacher. Amazing figures of my favorite actor, Clint Eastwood. In the back row, The Man with No Name from the Sergio Leone trilogy of spaghetti westerns, and Dirty Harry Callahan. Go ahead, punk. Make my day. Okay, now on to the last display that has 1/6 scale figures. On the very top, we have our temporary display until I get a new arrangement going to add in all the new Scum and Villainy figures. But we have Bib Fortuna greeting BT-1 and 000 in a pose homage to Return of the Jedi. 000's paint job is beautiful with all the variations of color in it. Truly amazing. The BT-1 I won in a giveaway from the Jedi's Night's Watch and Hawk Wars Toys. Thank you very much for the figure. I didn't have it at the time and it completed the look, so Ray, Graham, thanks very much, brother. Next, we have the Big Chief, Flash Gordon, and Ming the Merciless. I am so grateful to have these figures in my collection. I cannot overstate it. Big Chief, as we know, went supernova before they gave me fourth Doctor Who, but at least I've got Flash. Aww. Up here, we have my 1977 Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man, which is by far the greatest and most limited Spider-Man Hot Toys has put out to date. Awesome, posable suit, no worries on it, no wrinkles, absolutely amazing. And who would have ever thought we'd get a Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man? With him, I have the Black Manta. Now, I know this is from the movie, but as you can see with the Legion of Doom logo here, that's how I think of him, from Super Friends in the 70s, because I'm that old. On the last shelf, we have a collection of Star Wars Lego and the Mandalorian sigil. I built this helmet, was a gift from my friend Russell, and it was a lot more relaxing and meditative than I thought Legos would be at my age. So I think I'm going to get more Legos now again, which I haven't had since a kid. So as always, all my friends, family, uncles, aunts, everyone to this day still continues to buy me Star Wars gifts. And this was one of them, and I appreciate it. The Boba Fett comic wall is up next, starting with the Dark Horse, The Empire Strikes Back, and into the new War of the Bounty Hunters comics. I love the War of the Bounty Hunters series for the variation of awesome covers they put out. There are only 6 comics in the series, but I think like 500 covers, so you can have at it. The only condition on this side is that it must have Boba Fett on the cover to get on the wall. Behind the other figures, we have a mix of comics, including Shadows of the Empire, Dark Empire 1 and 2, and assorted comics. But just like to represent Boba Fett, as you can see, that's the main theme of my collection. Here in the background, we have 2 collectible Hamilton plates of Boba Fett and Slave One. Then the film cell of Fett, followed by his Mythosaur sigil, and the EFX Empire Strikes Back replica helmet. Absolutely love this piece. Here we have some of the Ralph McQuarrie concept art posters from the 80s, and these are the Empire Strikes Back. I absolutely love these. I have the entire set from each movie. My mother got them for me when I was young, and these pieces are absolutely wonderful. Of course, they look better individually framed and matted, but sometimes good enough is good enough. Up next, we have my artwork, mainly the story of Boba Fett through time. First, we have the McQuarrie concept for the Bounty Hunters. This is signed by Boba Fett himself, Jeremy Bullock, and probably my favorite piece in my collection. Then we have the Chase, a scout trooper on a speeder bike racing through the forest moon of Endor. I've got this in there because it goes right next to the Endor shelf and it looks amazing. Then we have a practical man showing Fett battling it out at Cloud City. Next is Katana's Last Flight from Return of the Jedi. Battle Worn is of the Sarlacc survivor Fett. Obviously one of my favorite figures and just a great look. Up next is the Hunter, showing Tusken Fett finding his way back to become the last piece in my collection, a new crime lord. Fett on the throne with Fennec at his side. Perfection. Next, we have the movie posters from Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. These are the versions that were displayed at the theaters at the time I saw the movie. Of course, I'm OG fan when Star Wars was just Star Wars, so I did see Star Wars in May 1977 at the Americana. Here we have the Eagle Moss Star Wars scaled ship collection. Of course, they went supernova before I could collect all the pieces I wanted, but I got some of the good ones in there. Also from Eagle Moss, we have 2 Vipers versus the Cylon Raiders, while a base ship stands by. Once again, didn't get Galactica because, you know, supernova. Lastly, in my collection room, we have the Star Trek 50th anniversary U.S. postal stamps. I had these canceled on the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. Awesome.